Yes.
Okay, that's my puppy. All right. She's in every picture I take almost. Uh, anyways, just a couple of things. I do say do edit your image. I don't know why there's this big thing about not editing images out there. You hear it all the time. Speakers to our club come once a month, and at some point in the speech, they'll say, "This is straight out of the camera, and I never touch my pictures. I'm a proud guy," but it usually tells me he doesn't know how to edit his pictures, and he needs some training. And that's usually the reason people don't edit is they really don't know how and what to do. So it's not that they're great photographers, is they have no idea how to edit. If you shoot raw, you have to edit your pictures. But anyways, to me, I say that's at least 50% of the fun. And people who know me that probably know that for me, it's about 90% of the fun.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I snap a picture, the rest of it is all the fun part.
Yep.
Your images will look better, I think. Your images will reflect better what you want as an artist to reflect. And I just said it a little while ago to Kelly here. Don't get too hung up on serious critiques. Have fun. There's almost no such thing as over editing your pictures. Take it where you want to take it. Over editing is when you go back to the picture a week later after you've done it, and it looks over edited to you. Then it's over edited. But usually when you're in the moment, you're probably going to go too far. And if you get into contest and submit your pictures to everybody else, and they tell you how wrong you are or how right you are, if that makes you feel good, that's okay. But I don't do it. I do what I want because it's hell. I live once. It's for me. There are a lot of free apps out there, and they usually aren't. When you get a free app, a photo editing app, it won't do everything you want it to do until you pay. So you'll do one or two things, and then it won't do anything else. So there are some free ones. But go ahead and pay for some. I paid for a number of apps. $5-10 for an app isn't for lifetime use isn't too much.
Yeah.
Adobe has a lot of apps that are free and very functional, but they do provide more functionality if you have a subscription to Adobe. You get the Adobe Cloud, and I'm going to show you today. I'll go through. You all use Lightroom, right? All of you.
Yes.
I'll try.
Yeah, you'll try. Okay, well, if you travel, there's Adobe Lightroom, and we'll get into how to use that and how to sync it up with your desktop. Okay, so that when you get back home, you've got your pictures. So there's the Adobe's apps are fabulous. I don't know why Adobe puts so many out there, and they're really great. I say find a good some good apps you like, pay for them, and enjoy it. Download Snapseed if nothing else. If you do nothing else, absolutely nothing else on your phone, do have Snapseed on your phone. That is a heck of a good fun app. It does so much, and it does almost anything you could possibly want to do on your phone. So
is that Snapseed free or Snapseed Pro?
Yeah, no, it's Snapseed free. It's just a free app. I don't think they have a paid version of it.
Well, I just went to my app store and it had one that was labeled free.
Okay.
And one that was labeled, I don't know. Yeah, anyway, I'll stop talking. Sorry.
Well, no, it's okay. It's a good question. I haven't looked lately. I've had Snapseed on my phone probably for 10 years. It used to be. It was developed by Nik Software, N-I-K. Nik was bought out by Google, then sold to a French company, but Google kept Snapseed. I think it's owned by Google right now. Consider using a stylus if you don't have one. We'll talk a little bit about that. And if you don't have one, you can still do a lot, but consider it. And I'll talk about the apps, why I use them. And there's a lot of other choices. Down below, VSCO is always highly rated. I think it's a ripoff. That's all my own zero star appreciation of something that's highly rated out there. So what are styluses? There's active styluses like the Apple Pencil. You can see the Apple Pencil there, the white one over here. Can you see my cursor, by the way? Thank you.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So that's the Apple Pencil there. I put a circle around my cursor so you can see it. And then there's these passive styluses. These work sort of like your finger does with a little electric charge that's on your finger. Conducts charge it like your finger. The Apple actually interacts with Bluetooth with your phone. It has a lot of nice features on it. It's pressure sensitive. The eraser, if you turn it around this side, it will erase. Things like that. So it's a nice thing to have. It doesn't mean you have to have it. There's a couple of deals here, editing apps. Just last year, I looked at CNET, Petapixel, iPhone Photo School, and Nations Lab, just to look what they rated as the best apps out there for the phone. CNET, which is highly respected. I go to CNET a lot for their reviews. Snapseed is number one. It's free. Okay, that's why I say if you get nothing else, get Snapseed. If you go here to iPhone Photo School, Snapseed, best for everyday editing, it's number one. And if I go to Nations Lab, Snapseed's right there too. So that we definitely need to talk about. Lightroom, the free subscription is free, and subscription is number two here. Lightroom, Petapixel says it's the best free photo app, editing app for the mobile device, and Lightroom for Nations Lab. So Lightroom is obviously one to get also. VSCO is over there. I tried that, thought it was a piece of junk. Photoshop Express, fabulous app. That's a lot of fun. Hopefully we have time to get into that. Prisma, there's a free version which is limited, but it has enough free things in it that's pretty neat. If you like to do crazy things like the background I'm using right now, Prisma lets you do some of that stuff. So that's the good stuff. Photoshop Express is down here again. So that's some of the good stuff.
So Petapixel, did you comment on that? Sorry, or Petapixel was what?
Petapixel's just Petapixel's a website. Okay.
I see. Okay.
And they rated Lightroom as the best free photo app last year.
Oh, I understand. Thank you.
Okay. These are Nations Lab. So these are ratings.
Okay.
And so if I would to look at my favorite photo apps here, there's some full function ones that have things like layers, selections, masking, all the things you get in Photoshop on your desktop. A lot of these have them. There's Photoshop for the iPad, which is different than Photoshop Express. Photoshop for the iPad is Adobe is trying to develop a full functioning Photoshop that works on the iPad. And so this is a sort of, it has a lot on it. It's really serious photo editor. This one here. If you like to get into Photoshop and really get deep into layers and all that kind of good stuff, Photoshop for the iPad works pretty good. It's getting better all the time. Photoshop Express is sort of like it's just a fun app. I mean, it's got a lot in it. It's got a lot. It has layers and selections also, and a lot of good filters that do some good things, and heck of a lot of good editing power. It's almost like Elements would be in on your desktop. And then there's Lightroom Mobile. It's a fabulous app. There's Snapseed, I mentioned. Affinity Photos, another one. If you like, you can get Affinity Photo. If you don't like to pay for Photoshop and things like that, you can get an Affinity Photo on your desktop also. And then there's something called Raw Power, which is coming along. It's an up and coming. These are all full functioning, sort of Photoshop type apps that do a lot. Some of them are just filter things where you click on it and it adds a filter, just a crazy effect to your picture. There's Photoshop Camera. It's made by Adobe, but it's called Photoshop Camera because it works with your camera app. When you're taking a picture, it'll plaster a filter on the picture and make it. I'll show you in a second what that does. Prisma, I told you I like, and then PixArt has a bunch of fun filters, and then specific functions, things that just do one thing but do it really well. Okay, even longer. I shouldn't even have that. It's a shooting app. If you like long exposure apps or time lapse videos, that does that. That's really a shooting app. It's not an editing app. Carbon, I love. If you like black and white pictures, it is fabulous. I mean, Carbon is a great black and white editor. Collage Maker is good, but Photoshop Express has a Collage Maker in it too. So if you like to put collages together, when you go on a trip and you like to bunch of pictures together, Touch Retouch is for taking things out of pictures like distractions, dust, people, things like that. And then Remini, I do a lot of photo restoring old pictures, and Remini is just mind-boggling what it'll do. It does what Photoshop does with their new smart AI filters in Photoshop, but Remini does it on your phone. So that's some of the good stuff. Let me just show you some ideas of filters. This is Prisma. Prisma does neat filters. You can add take a truck like that and do all sorts of funny things with it in Prisma. That's sort of a Prisma deal. I mentioned Photoshop Camera. Bill knows where this is. This is my spot in the lake, Bill. But if I take that Photoshop camera out and start taking pictures with it, I can make different effects. That's the same. I'm sitting there at the same time of day doing the same thing with Photoshop Camera. Then I do another one here.
Boy, you must have been there a long time because the moon.
Yeah, that's right. Well, then you can get really wild here too. I got that one.
Fantastic.
And then I've got this one here.
Wow.
Oh, then I got that one there. Okay, you can get pretty wild, but that's Photoshop Camera for you. If you like to take really crazy pictures and do it right there, rather than editing them, as you take the picture, you get to put all these filters on. Is this serious stuff? I don't know if it's serious stuff. Let's get going. I like it. Let me get my iPad up here, and what you're looking at now is just Lightroom, but I'm going to get my iPad up here in a second here. Okay, can you see my iPad now? You can see it all right, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to go to the photo editing area up here. This Adobe and Photo Edit. These are the apps that I use, and you can see I have a lot of them. I wonder why I run out of space on my devices, but I do have a lot. I have a lot of shooting apps. We won't get into that. We're going to get into photo editing. First, I'm going to start off with the photo editing apps up here and talk about a couple of them. We talked about Snapseed, so I'm going to get into Snapseed first. Then Prisma. Here's Carbon. Here's Remini. Remini, maybe I'll do Remini first, just because it's easy and it's fast. It's a one-thing app. What Remini does, it takes pictures and reconstructs the face on the picture using AI. Okay, hopefully it'll come up. There you go. And let me go back to a second. Open gallery. I got to find a picture that I want here. I've got an old picture. Let's see, albums. There you go. There's a second if I can get that picture to come up. Okay, this is an old picture that was taken back in the early 40s. My mother-in-law is the woman standing in the back smiling with some of her friends in Coney Island. They were in the Navy. Okay, so all I have to do is I bring the picture into Remini and I can hit enhance or enhance plus. Just show you quickly what AI can do, which is pretty crazy. And this is all it does. I mean, if you're wanting to enhance or restore old photographs, there's just nothing to it. So there's the restore. Let me take one of the pictures. I'll take my mother-in-law.
Oh, wow.
Wow. That's fantastic. Yeah.
And that is what she looks like, or looked like. I mean, is that not crazy? Take any other woman here. Now, obviously, if I were doing the restore, I would be fixing the dots and, doing a lot of other things probably before I did this. But my point is, you end up with a picture that looks, how do they say, fabulous?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's just, so if you're into restoring old, now this does cost you something, but there's a monthly subscription, whatever. Anyways, it to me, it is scary what it does. All right. So that is, if you're into restoring old pictures, just want to tell you that is hard to beat. Hard to beat. So that's Remini. That's all it does. Pretty simple. Let's get into Snapseed. Okay. Oops. Come on. Open Snapseed. Just click on that. Okay, Snapseed. It is Google. You can see Google flashed up real quick. It comes in with a plus, and you want to open a picture. So I tap on the plus. Okay. I'll take a picture from my device. You can also use your camera and to take a picture if you want, or you can open the last image. I'll open it from the device. Okay. And let's just take a picture I'll take, let's see, albums. And I'll go back to Kingwood Photo Club. I put some pictures in here, and I will take that boat picture just for the fun of it. Okay, it's a picture of a boat that I took overseas. I mean, when I was my last trip. So there's a picture of a boat. That's not much to it, but you know, you can do a lot of things. For example, I can start up on the top right where my cursor is. Whatever I did on my last picture, I can apply those edits to this picture. Okay, there's a lot of things you can do down here. You can also, these are all just presets. So if I click on one of these things, so for example, I click on smooth. Okay, it made it smooth. Now, if I put my finger on the picture, you can see the before and after. So there's the before and there's the after. Okay, so you have a lot of presets here. Okay, and you can actually make presets. If you go through and you can see some down here. For example, if I want to do fine art, black and white fine art, it gives me that black and white fine art, the before and after. Okay, so and then there's some here, for example, that I use for street art that I created myself. So you can create your own presets that you like and apply them. So that's good. If once you like what you did or didn't like, you can either apply it by checking the checkbox here, or back out and say, no, I don't want to do that. So I'm going to back out, hit the X. Okay, so I'm back to the original picture right now. Okay, so let's do some things with the original picture. These things, these little rainbow up here, that was what you know, is just showing you the picture and stuff. What I'm going to do is hit this pencil down here, which is the edits. Okay. And these are the edits. This is how simple it is. This is how you edit the picture. You click on that little pencil. Now, if I were showing this, before I do that, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do something real quick here. If I were looking at this thing on my iPhone, the interface is going to be slightly different on the iPhone. So let me just do something real quick. iPhone is here. I'm going to go off here, and I'm going to share my iPhone screen with you, just so they see there's a slightly different interface. We're going to go back to the iPad, but if you get it on your iPhone and say, well, gee, this doesn't look like anything like I thought it was going to look like, well, edit. Okay, so it's going to look a little different on the iPhone just because the screen's different. Okay, open from device. Let's go back to this thing here. Now you can see, instead of along the side over here, I've got these things down below, you know, and instead of the little pencil thing, it says tools. So looks are these filters. Tools are this thing here. Okay, so when I go back to the iPad, you'll see the interface looks slightly different, but it's the same thing. And then when you're finished, obviously you have to hit export, and you can save it with the changes that you can undo. So you can, if you save it, it'll save the edited picture, but if you reopen it, you can re-edit it, which is nice. You can save a copy, create a whole copy with the changes that you can undo, or you can export the picture with permanent changes. Okay, so that's pretty nice. So let's get off of this and go back to the iPad. Okay, back to iPad here. Okay, so now we're going to go back to this little pencil that I was talking about, which in the iPhone says tools. Okay, the first thing I usually do, but there's a lot of things you can do, is I will tune image. Okay, this area up here. Okay, so there's different things you can do just by tapping on these things here. You can see you can add picture frames on it, vignettes, glow, tonal contrast, HDR effect, and all that kind of good stuff. So let's go to tune image first. That's what I usually start off with. Now it says what happened with tune image. Well, you can do you can click auto adjust, or you can do adjust. But the way it actually works is I put my finger on the image. Okay, and then if I hit adjust, On the iPhone, I put my finger on the image. Sorry, on the iPhone, I put my finger on the image and roll it up and down. But here I'm hitting adjust, okay? And then I can change things I like to change by rolling this up and down. I'm using my finger. Ambiance is a nice one. I don't know exactly what ambiance does, but it always does. Now, if I move my finger right to left, so I'm moving my finger along the screen this way, I can change the picture, okay? That's
Oh, wow.
See, that's ambiance. I like ambiance. I don't know what the heck it does, but it's sort of cool. You know?
Wonder how they come up with these names.
Well, the thing, most of the ones you would notice, I mean, brightness is just
Yeah, that's
brightness,
pretty
right?
obvious.
Contrast is contrast, saturation, ambience. I don't. Now, highlights and shadows is just like would be in Lightroom. I can go highlights, for example, and go left. See the sky in the background.
Oh, yes.
See, so
Yeah.
and up above you'll see the highlights bar going -9, 21 on the top left, and then I'm going left.
Oh, yes. Yes,
So
yes.
it goes up and down. So that's highlights. If I now do again shadows, I can open up shadows if I want,
Mm-hmm.
or close shadows. See,
Mm-hmm.
if you look down here in the bottom left in particular,
And ambiance does some of that, but
yeah, ambiance does. So between the combination of those things, you can do quite a bit on your picture. You can increase or decrease saturation. Maybe I want to take the saturation down a touch. I want to warm it up a little bit, make it a little bit warmer or colder. Okay. So there's a lot of control on this particular thing, right? So if I get the picture sort of like I like it there, I can now hit the check mark, okay? And I can go on to the next feature. So I'm hitting the little pencil again, and I'm going to go to details. That's usually the second thing I do. In details, I have the choice of sharpening or structure. I love what structure does on this, okay? So I'm going to hit structure and go radical back and forth. You can see it. It's almost like the clarity slider in Lightroom. See the boards on the ship. It adds a lot of punch. Now, you probably sometimes don't want that on your whole picture. So let's just say that I like what this does down in the area of these boards down here, but I don't like what it's doing everywhere else. Okay, so what I can do now is I'm going to save these edits. But a feature that Snapseed has that most people don't know it has is layers. Okay, up here. Okay, so I'm going to hit layers. I can undo what I just did. I can revert to the original picture, or it'll tell me how far back I step backwards, or I can view the edits. Okay, well, I'm going to view the edits. See, the layers just came up here. Remember, the last thing I did was details, right? I added structure. Let's say I want to take off the structure from everybody, but I just want to have it down here on the deck, okay? So I can hit the little arrow sign on details. I can either get rid of that layer, I can use adjustments to readjust the layer, or I can use a pencil, a mask. Okay, I'm going to use the mask. Okay, it did away with the layers. Now it's asking me down below, do I want 100% of that effect wherever I brush, or do I want, or zero effect? So I'm going to want to have 100 effect of that wherever I brush. So I'm going to brush that effect on just the boards over here, okay? So I'm going to brush that effect on just the boards. And I'll say, good, I like that. So I'm going to save that. So now I got that layer, but the effect is only here. It didn't apply it all everywhere else. You can be selective, okay? So that little feature, and once I've finished with that, with using these layers, I go up here, hit the back button to go back to editing. Okay, now I'm back to where I was. Okay, I can do the before and after by just holding my finger. That's the before picture. Here's the after picture. And now I can continue editing with whatever I like. So that I can do, going back to the pencil, using any of these other things. For example, there's a healing brush if I wanted to get rid of some little items. It's not as good as some of the other things, but it's like a healing brush in Photoshop, or if I want to get rid of a spot or something like that, it works. The brush tool, for example, if I use the brush tool, I can dodge and burn, or I can do selective editing. So the brush tool is up here. Selective editing. Say if I do selective editing, I'll do selective editing, and say it's a word I want to select. Let's say I want to select, oh heck. Let me see there's nothing really to select here very easily. Oh heck. I'm putting that little brightness, that little selection right there, and then using my fingers and pinching back and forth. I'm trying to say, okay, this is the area I want to select right there. If the brighter out, it's like a radial filter almost, right? So now I'm going to select that. You see, it says B in it, right? That's because if I, oops, second. I can go up and down. So I'm using my finger I'm just going up. B is because it was brightness. But let's say I wanted to, I wanted to make that bright. That little square there, I wanted to make it bright. So now I hit bright. I go right and left with my finger and brighten it up or darken it down. Okay. So there are selective edits that you can do. So I can check it off. Now I've got that selective edit. I've got that brighter. So that's basically a selective edit. With using the selective brush. The brush does similar. Brush is if you like to dodge and burn a lot, this does the same thing. For example, if I use a brush here, I can change exposure or dodge and burn. Let's just use the exposure value, EV here. And I'm going to use that. It's going to give me a +7 exposure value, but I can change that. I can increase the a one stop. And if I brush anywhere, you see what it's doing, okay? Say I don't like that, and so what I'll do is decrease that and brush over what I did. So when I can, basically dodge and burn. I can make that deck brighter over there. I can make the house back here brighter. Wherever I dodge and burn, I can do that, or I can burn by making things darker, right? So that's dodging and burning with the brush, right? So I'm going to hit the X and X out of here. But that it's an important feature. I mean, if you're doing a lot of editing, I'm not showing you basically what you should be doing with this picture. I'm just showing you how to do it. So hit the arrow key again. One of the things I do like sometimes is this HDRscape. I like it to apply it to certain areas of the picture sometimes, but not the whole thing. And so there's different, this makes it look very HDR-y. But sometimes when you're dealing with rocks or textures and stuff, you want to make that pop. This is a nice little filter to use. This is some strong effects here. Or if you're going black and white, let's do that. Let's do a nice strong HDR effect. I'll leave that like that, black and white. I accepted that. So that looks a little bit strange, but with a nice if you're going black and white, sometimes the HDR is a really nice thing to do. So there's a black and white filter over here. Let's see, where is it? Oh, there it is over here, black and white. I'm going to go black and white. Okay. So the HDR does nice things with black and white. So you've got different choices here, dark and sky, film. You have some adjustments here, brightness, contrast. You have a color filter. You know what color filters do with black and white? They make things of that color pop brighter, so anything with red in it's going to go brighter. If you're trying to get a darker sky, sometimes a yellow filter, if it's a blue sky, yellow or red filter work good with sky. So I can fool around with these filters until I get one I sort of like that green filter. I'm going to do an adjustment here. Oh, that's good. Let's go to presets, see what they've got presets here. Dark sky, film, dark, bright. I'll leave it like that. So let's just say I like what this did to the picture, the before and after. Here's the original picture. Here's the after picture. The reason I took this picture in the first place is I like the lines, I like all the clutter, and I was intending it to be a black and white, believe it or not. I like the black and white version. I actually have a picture of this on the wall. I like the black and white. But the last thing I would probably do on this would be add a vignette to it. And here, again, I would just, you can do what you want with vignettes. You can go light if you want, you can go dark. I like usually a very subtle little vignette, the one that you can't see too much. I'll hit, and of course, if you like other things, for example, you can add another picture to it. You can do frames. Frames are sometimes fun. You can do different frames with picture. So now you got a frame on it. And if you really like all that, you can actually go to the to your presets and save this look. Okay. So if I like that look and I want to apply it to future pictures, I can do that. So the way I did that was just basically hitting the second. Let's oh, go away. You know, that's not on my screen. Cancel. You know, it's locked up on my screen differently than I want to do here. No. You know, this is interesting. My screen is not showing what you're seeing here. I'm going to go back out. Oh, okay, come back. The mirroring activity didn't do what I wanted to do. Here we go. I'm back to my picture, I think. So the you know, the way you save a look that you have is you go back to the presets up here. You scroll down in these little dots that are here. Click on those and say save the preset and give it a name. So this, if you like what you did on this thing, you can save it for future pictures. But this is basically the way Snapseed works. It's pretty simple. You know, you get all these kinds of things that you can do to it. You can add a glamour glow to the picture if you like the picture to glow a little bit. So there's little things you can do like that. It starts to look pretty cool. So anyways, I highly recommend Snapseed. So that's Snapseed. Any questions on that one? None?
Certainly looks powerful, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, and like I say, if you do nothing else, Snapseed will give you hours of joy in terms of editing your pictures. I'll tell you about, I probably edit 90% of the pictures I take on my phone. And I probably use Snapseed 90% of the time or 80% of the time.
So that takes over precedence or your favoritism over Lightroom or.
Oh yeah, no, now the Lightroom, if I'm doing serious stuff, I'll show you Lightroom in a minute. If I'm doing serious stuff, I'll go with Lightroom and get it on my, you know, desktop and stuff. And I'll show you how I do that in a second. Let me show you Prisma, just because Prisma.
So you use Snapseed more than any other?
Yes, on my phone.
On your mobile device.
Yes, I do. I use Snapseed more than anything else. Yes, that on my I use Lightroom a lot too, and I'll show you. But it's for a slightly different use. And if I'm shooting with my regular camera instead of my iPhone, I'll use Lightroom usually. So let me do Prisma just because it's a fun app. It does things that serious photographers probably shouldn't be doing. But let me, this one, you know, it wants you to do all sorts of things like create accounts and stuff and pay for stuff. Let me just take a picture of my granddaughter. See, you can pay all sorts of things too. I've got the free version, and free version does quite a bit. I'm bringing a picture of my granddaughter in. Okay, I took this picture about a week or two ago. But down below, you can see there's a lot of filters. Okay, and if you hit the add more in the bottom right, there's a lot you can get. These are free. A lot of these are free. Now, a lot of these are locked, and you'd have to. But I can get more. I can get hey cowboy there. Add to favorites. Okay, so now I've got one called cowboy. Okay, now I can go back to my picture of my granddaughter. The kinds of things you can do is, for example, let's just take her picture and go to I don't know, cartoon. I'm clicking cartoon. See,
isn't that something?
You see that?
Yeah.
That's not bad. It's fun,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I think it did a good job.
Yes.
And there's a lot of different ones there that you can go clicking along here. This one's working a little bit. So that's what these filters do. Essentially, You don't have to do anything as well. There is a slight adjustment. Like this click creating artwork. I'm not sure what this one will end up doing. Let's see what the artwork is. Okay. Now, if I
Oh,
go
cool.
now, what I can do, if I can adjust this, okay, so using my finger again, sliding left and right, left decreases the effect, right increases the effect. So I can decrease the effect a little bit and just make it a light effect or a heavier effect. So, and then I can do things like some borders, you can add several effects here at a time, things like that. But again, that's what this is about. It's not, I just downloaded this cowboy one. What does cowboy do? Oh, there you go. So I can decrease the effect a little bit on cowboy, and
Mhm.
uh, and anyways, and then I can go back to sorry, I can go back. There is a cancel. There's this adjustment on the right hand side. So there are some adjustments. I can say, okay, there's saturation on that cowboy one's a little heavy, so let's bring down the saturation. You know,
Right.
and contrast. There are some things you can do there. You know, exposure. And then when you apply, hit apply, and you've got it. So that's if you like quick, easy, really simple edits, Prisma, I highly recommend it. There's enough in the free version that it's fun to do. And so that was Prisma. Raw Power is a good one. Carbon, I told you, is if you like black and white pictures, it's just a great black and white editor. Take a picture of my granddaughter again. Let's take this picture here. That's the one we just did.
Mhm.
Let's turn it black and white for the heck of it. Let's see. It says the first starts off saying, what crop do I want? Well, I just leave the original. Well, let's do, no, I'll leave the original crop. Go next. There's a lot of filters down here below that I can do. It's if I do say old photo, you can do some different things with it. You know, you can see what I'm doing here. It gives it some different looks. And then I can change the amount of that look by sliding that back and forth. So those are some looks you can get. I'm going to hit the X to back out of that. That's acid trip. Oh, that's old photo. Acid trip gives you some really crazy effects. You know, that's I'll back out of that. Duotone, toning presets are cool. So if you just want to tone the picture, say with a different tones, if you're into black and white, it gives you let's say that, and I'm going to go to black and white filters now. And that gives you some choices here. Ibiza I like. It's just a nice, almost black and white, but not quite picture. So you get yourself a neat looking photo out of the thing, you know. So you can see there's different choices. It's a nice black and white editor. So basically what I'm saying, it's nice. And it does cost money though. If you're into black and white, that's a great one. Let's go to look at the Adobe. Oh, touch and retouch. I mean, that's a pretty simple one. If you really want to get rid of stuff in a picture, let me go to albums. Get me a picture here that I can do some touch and retouch to it. See if I can find something here. Albums. Oops, a second. I didn't want to do that. Where are we going here? Yeah, let's just do this one here. Okay, there's a picture. Let's say I want to get rid of something here. Down below, you can see there's object removal, quick repair, line removal. I know what they. So there's some things, but this object removal is interesting. If I do that, I can say I want to get rid of this thing here. You can see I'm painting over that. Let it go, and then I'll say go.
Okay, I just got it.
Boom, gone. So that's object removal. That's what the touch retouch does basically. You can get rid of things just by touching on them. Okay, let me go.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it is. I mean, if you want to retouch some pictures, and that is a free app, I believe. You know, so you go. It's pretty good. I mean, that's that brush. I can use a lasso, for example, and say I want to get rid of that. You know,
Right.
and then hit go.
This one is which one now?
What I just used was this lasso tool. You can use a brush tool.
But what's the software? Sorry.
Oh, the software, sorry. The software is called Touch Retouch.
Touch Retouch. Okay.
And it's free. I believe it's free if I remember right, but I may be wrong. So things are changing. But it's a good one for just touching and retouching pictures. Some of these other things you see I've got here, for example, View XF, Investigator, they're both pretty good. They're not editing tools, but if you want to see a picture, for example, that picture there, or any picture, I'll take that picture there. You see down below, it tells me it was shot at ISO 26mm f2 1/358. It was shot on an iPhone 11 Pro on December 23rd, 21. So if you want to see some of those things, that's, you know, what the picture was and all that. It's a nice little app. It's not an editing app, but it's a good app to see what the picture details are. Mextures is just another. This is one where you can add textures to a picture. It's pretty simple too. It basically library. If I take a picture like hers, use that picture, and I will go to uncropped. Let's see, crop, uncropped. And now I can start adding, effects to it, light effects. You can see the light effect now that I've added to the top of the picture. So this gives you different light effects, different things you can do to the pictures, textures and stuff like that. So that's another one that's not too bad. But those are a bunch of the little ones I use.
Is that Touch Retouch?
No, that last one was called Mextures.
Call what?
Mextures, MEXTURES. That one, I mean, the ones I use heavily are Snapseed. Prisma I use when I want to have some fun. These this photo, this is Affinity Photo, and this is Raw Power. These are very much like Photoshop. If you were to open up, say, Affinity Photo here, Affinity Photo, let's go. There you go. And take any picture of the Affinity Photo. Let's go with, let me just try to see if I can find a, I'm going to go up to the little plus up here, add a picture in here. I'm going to import from photos down here. And I'll just take a picture of a bear. This picture here is very much a Photoshop-like sort of deal. You know, it's coming up on the screen. It's not showing up the way it should. No, it isn't. I'm sorry, there are tools down both sides here, but they're not showing up on my screen. Let's see, go. No, it doesn't show up. So it's not really showing it to you here. I hope it doesn't do that in Photoshop. But it's just like Photoshop. It's got crop tools and brush tools and clone stamp tools and all the other good stuff that you need. It's a Photoshop type software that's Affinity Photo. Raw Power is very similar to that, has that same sort of look to it. But the best thing is, let's go to the Adobe apps that I have over here for editing. I'm going to get into Lightroom because that's the one I use the most. Photoshop Express is a fabulous little app. If we have time, we'll get into that. Photoshop Camera is pretty good too. But the Photoshop Camera, I showed you what you can do. You just point the camera and pick a filter, and it does that. Let's go to Lightroom here, okay? Okay, it's going to create. He's coming up here. Now, again, this interface on the iPhone is different than the iPad because the iPad has more room. A lot of these things are over here. On the iPhone, sometimes they're down below or they're hidden away, but it does exactly the same stuff. Okay, as you can see on the left-hand side, I have 1,786 photos, all photos. I've got them into albums here. What the difference is, when you put a photo in an album, these albums here become synced with my desktop. Okay, so you'll notice, just for example, I'll quickly go to the desktop. 37 horse pictures here, 10 iPhone. Norway, I have 1,100 pictures here. and these are all synced with my desktop. If I click on the little buttons here next to one of these albums, for example, I can share and invite, so I can actually share this album with people, just like you would Flickr. Okay, so if I share and invite, and I send them this link, they'll be able to see my pictures just like it's online, just like Flickr. So that's a nice feature to have. So that's a cool deal. So if I look at these albums here, if I go to Lightroom, they'll be called collections. Okay, so let me back out of here just for a second and go to, this is Lightroom on my desktop. Okay, you can see that. If I go to collections here, I've got a lot of collections, but I have one group of collections I have called Lightroom, from Lightroom Mobile. And you can see here's a bunch of pictures. Here's Norway pictures that we just saw. Here's the horses pictures. So if I go to here's these Norway pictures here. If I go back now to my iPad, okay, here's the Norway pictures. Okay, if I edit a picture here, it'll also transfer the edits onto my desktop. Okay, now the question is, you probably ask yourself, how the hell did I get these pictures into here? Well, I took them, all these pictures were taken with my regular camera. Okay, so I'm going to try to get out of here for a second, go to, so I can show you this thing. I'm just going to go to shoot, see if I can get this thing here. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. That is it's a dongle that fits an SD card in there, and the other side goes into my iPad. Okay, so
Yep.
that I use that right there to get it into Lightroom. So having seen that, when I go back to Lightroom now.
That makes more sense. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So you see that little dongle? Now what happens if I want to add pictures, for example, to this Norway cruise? I go down here. I can add pictures two ways. I can either click on the camera icon. If I click on the camera icon, the beauty of the camera icon is I can set pictures, pro down here, professional, high dynamic range, or high dynamic range pictures. So I can say professional. And I can also auto white balancing. There's a lot of things you can do on this, and you can see it's taking the picture in raw DNG. So I'm getting a raw picture on my iPhone or my iPad, whatever I'm using, by going into Lightroom. Lightroom will take raw pictures. Okay, so that's a pretty nice little feature. If you want to take pictures with your phone and want them to be raw pictures, you can do that in Lightroom. And the nice thing is, once you capture the picture, let's look at the rest of this screen. These are the albums. They're the collections on my desktop. Let's go up here, the top here. I can do searches. I can do filters. So if I want to do a filter, I want pictures that are all checked. You know, if I want to do all just the check pictures. If I want to do, you know, all the pictures, you know, it allows me to do filtering. If I want to do pictures that I have at least 1 star on them, or 5-star pictures, I have no 5-star pictures in there. So it allows me to do some nice things. I can also do some filtering by camera. So you can see I've got different cameras here, shot with a Canon or Sony. So I want to just take the one shot with my Sony. I want to look at those pictures. So those are nice. Once I've got the filters done, let me go back to. You can see these filters are up here. Now I want to get rid of the filters. I have to click on the little X there to go back. So that gets rid. So you can filter the pictures. The notifications, activity notifications will appear here. I forget that. This little cloud is the Adobe cloud. So here it's all the pictures are synced and backed up. They go through the Adobe Cloud and end up on my desktop. So if I do anything here, for example, let's take any picture here, and you'll notice when I start to edit the picture, this cloud will become active. So let's just take me at St. Andrews. Okay, the thing changed to an X. I'm going to just do something to it. Auto. Okay, and back. So you see this little dot was just going through here. I think it took 2 seconds, and it's already synced and backed up. So, but you can see it's working, syncing. It says syncing now. Okay, synced and backed up. So now, whatever, if I change something here, it syncs it with my desktop. So the idea then is I'm on a trip. Now, obviously, you have to have enough memory space on your laptop or your phone, or this works on the phone also, or your iPad. But you take the little dongle and go down below here to where it says add pictures. And it says, do I want to add pictures from all photos, which is up here on all photos? Want to take it from the camera roll? Did I take some pictures with my iPhone that are on the camera roll I want to bring in here? From files, or from camera device? Now this camera device would be the dongle.
Is the card and the dongle.
The dongle with the camera. So I can say, yeah, at the end of what I literally do at the end of each day is I take my SD card and I stick it into my iPad and import them into Lightroom. So it's what that does for me is it gives me a backup, right?
Right.
Now they're on my iPad and they're going through the cloud. If I have Wi-Fi, good Wi-Fi system, if they're going through the cloud up to my desktop. So now the thing is backed up, and the beauty is that once I've done that, I can go in and edit pictures. So you take a picture wherever you're at. Let's just say that picture there. I'm going to take a picture. So I clicked on a picture, and it comes up with the edit types of things over here. And it's just like Lightroom. If you use Lightroom, these are the same controls also. It has a histogram here. I can hit edit. If I hit auto, just like Lightroom, it'll do an auto adjust. Okay. I may or may not like the auto adjust. I can then go and hit these little edit on the right. Let's bring that up. I'm sorry. The auto adjusted, I can go to light, open up the light thing. I can change exposure, contrast, highlights, whatever I like. Okay. Highlights down, shadows up, whatever. I can do color. See the little white balance. If I want to change white balance in the picture there, I can take that white balance thing, move this around to where I want to do white balance. Let's say it's over here. You can see it changes the white balance of the picture by where I put this. I want to find some neutral spot. That's not going to work, because if I put it in the wrong spot, of course, I'm not going to. And once I get the white balance where I want it, neutral spot, that's a good neutral spot. That's a gray roof on the building there. So that's probably a decent white balance there. Once I like the white balance, I click on that little check mark there, and it commits the white balance. Okay, so now this is the before picture. This is the after picture, and I do that just by clicking, by holding my finger again, just like Snapseed. I put my finger on the picture, it goes to before and after. So at the end of the day, when I've loaded my pictures up here, I go through here and I edit them just like I would if I were in Lightroom at home. I can run the vibrance up a little bit on the picture if I want. Saturation, tint, temperature, color mix, whatever I'm doing on the picture. I can go to effects here. Effects, I can add a little vignette to the picture if I want. Dehaze it if I want. So you're doing exactly what you would be doing and I can sharpen the picture, obviously, do a little sharpening. So that's pretty cool. And by the way, it does also have, like Lightroom on the desktop. What I was using here is these adjustment things. There's some other, I can do cropping with it. I can remove dust spots with a healing brush. And there's a select tool, just like in Lightroom. They've improved the selection tool. So if I click on the selection tool, now I got a little plus sign down here. What do I want to select? Okay, they don't have the automatic sky select yet. I imagine they will, you know, just like Lightroom, the desktop, you can select sky. I can't do that yet, but I can do some different things. For example, let's do color range here. Okay, color range. Okay, you can say what color range do you want to select? I'm going to select the sky because it's blue. Okay, I'm going to change the slider here to see if I can refine that at all. Not too good. It's selecting a lot of blue here and a lot of blue probably in the flowers and stuff. But I can say I can now let's apply that. Okay, but I've applied. You can see the mask right here, what it's selected. Okay, what I can do now is I can subtract from that selection. See the flowers down here I don't want selected. So let's do a subtract. I'm going to click on the minus sign. Okay. Subtract from that mask. And I'm going to use a linear gradient. And I'm going to select, yeah, I'm just going to, I'm going to just, see, you can see the selection goes away as I go up.
Oh, yeah.
You see that? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select, it's not a perfect sky selection, but I've got something there, right? So now I've got that, I can say done. Oops, let me go back to selection here. Sorry. I've got the selection now. Now that I have the selection in play, I can use things like color, saturation. Right. I'll run the saturation back and forth on the sky now. See?
Wow.
So I can change the tint of the sky if you like. Really make it. So that's pretty good temperature of the sky. And the lightness of the sky, I can change the exposure on it. So if you've got a sky that's blown out, you know, you can bring the exposure down a little bit, see if you can recover some blues. So that was, and you can see what happened here. I added a mask, and then I took a subtracted piece away so that it no longer has the flowers in play. It's only sky. Now, in the future, I'm sure they'll add a sky selection feature that's automatic. The desktop has it. Okay, so so that's that. I can say done here. I'll hit done, and this little thing up here is going to want to see it's using a smart preview. This is important. The actual picture is not on my iPad. The actual picture has been transferred to my desktop, right? The raw. So the original was is a smart preview. The original, the backup is on the HEIC picture. The iPhone is on my iPad. But I could force sync it right now or pause syncing. So I can do a force sync. So now it should be all synced. Okay, so that sent the picture up to my iPhone. So that's essentially, you know, using the Lightroom on your iPad to when you're traveling to take all your pictures, and they end up in the end on your, you know, on this is they'll end up right here on your desktop. So that's a nice feature with. Let's go back there.
A couple of dopey questions. You're taking a picture with your Canon or a regular SLR.
Yeah.
And you take your card out and use the dongle and put it on to the iPad, and I've got an iPad.
Yeah.
Now I've got the Creative Cloud. What do you call it?
You're a subscriber to Adobe?
Yes.
Okay. So
I got both Lightroom and Creative Cloud app there.
Yeah.
So I go right to Lightroom with.
Yeah, it'll ask you to sign in.
Right.
Yeah, and when you first get open Lightroom, it'll ask you if you want to sign in. And you sign in with your account, Adobe account.
Right. And then so that'll take the pictures right from right through the dongle from the card.
Mhm.
And then it will, do you preset the collection, or, what do you do beforehand? I guess you set up.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, that's a good point. Yeah, see the little plus sign there? I would create a new album. A folder is a group of albums, but don't use
Right,
that
right.
much. But so I would create a new album, and let's just call this album test. Okay.
So
Right.
you create that new album on your desktop at home.
No.
Do it on the
You-
fly.
You can do that, or you can do that. I'll show you something. Goes both ways. Goes both ways.
Okay.
I just
yeah.
created test now. I just created test on this thing here, right? I can say, let's go to test, and I'm going to go add a picture to it. I'm going to say, go from my camera roll, and the picture we just edited, my granddaughter, I'm going to add to that. So now I've got a picture in
That's good.
test, right? I've got one picture in test. If I go now, you see this thing is that right up above here, it's humming. The little dots moving.
Yes, in the cloud. Right. Yeah. Okay.
If I go now to here, there's something called test. It hasn't
Okay.
received, the picture just came in. There's the picture.
Okay. Oh, cool. I see. All
That's
right.
my desktop. And that's the one that we just did, right?
Right.
You saw it in real life, right? So that,
Right.
and it didn't take long. Now I have good Wi-Fi here, high speed
Sure.
Wi-Fi and everything.
Sure.
Yeah, you're on a trip in a hotel in Bangladesh, it may not work that fast,
Right. Right.
But so that was going that direction. Now
Right. So
let's,
that was taking it from the card
yeah.
off your camera and initiating the whole sequence.
Now when
by
I'm
putting
on,
on,
yeah, I initiated the sequence. I created a folder on my iPad. I put a picture into it. In this case, I put it in from the desk from my phone, but I could have put it in from my card.
and that's in albums on your iPhone,
Yes.
iPhone or on
The
your
same thing.
iPad.
The
Right.
same
Okay.
thing as collections here. All right.
Okay.
Now, when this is my desktop, you'll see this little icon on the left, the little sort of two-way arrows that they're here.
Yep.
They're very dull. Those mean that these are being synced. If I click off on this arrow here under horses, it'll ask me stop syncing this collection, which means it won't be on my iPad anymore. Okay.
Mm.
So I cancel it. But I can also do something else. See the little plus sign here?
Yep.
I can do plus sign, create a new collection. Okay. Let's see, create a new collection. I'm going to name this collection
Test
two.
Yep.
I'm going to put it inside of this Lightroom mobile thing, and I'll create it. Okay. Now there's test 2. There's nothing in it. Now I created this on my desktop, right? So
Correct.
I could get a picture and move it. Let me go back to my library let me see if I can go. I know what I need to do. Let me go back to folders. Folders, Macintosh, workspace. And let's just take anything. I'll go here. I can just take that cloud picture, and I'm going to move that cloud picture into that test 2 collection right here. Okay. So now that the cloud pictures in the test 2 collection, right? If I were to go back to my, see how fast it comes back.
Oh.
Second. Now I'm going back to my iPad, and there's test 2 down here. So it did show up here. I haven't seen the picture come back yet, but it'll come back sooner or later. Come on, that's synced and backed up. Well, it sometimes takes a little while to come back, but it'll go the other. There it comes. Okay.
Depends on how big that file is. Basically,
It just came in. There's the
Yep.
picture of the
Yep.
of the clouds. So you can go both ways. I create so I can create the image and transfer from the iPad up to the desktop, or I can do it on the desktop and go the other direction, right?
Right.
Now you can see these are being synced. I can turn off the sync on these things.
Mhm.
Stop syncing that. And stop syncing that. Now, if you're going to go off on a trip, you're going to want to clean off the pictures in the iPad. And you can do that without worrying about it. If you delete some pictures in your iPad, they're not going to be deleted on your desktop. The
Right.
original, what you're deleting on the iPad are the smart previews. You delete a bunch of smart previews, there's nothing to sync anymore that do it. But so the question is, where on your, these are collections, where on your desktop are these pictures? Where do they end up?
Right.
Okay, so let's go to, I'm going to preferences, Lightroom preferences. This is desktop, so I'm looking at the preferences on my desktop. Okay, I'm going to preferences here, Lightroom sync. Okay, and it's saying, let's see, it's saying that it's telling you what's happening down here, and then here it says specified location for Lightroom synced images. Okay, so you tell it all the images that are synced, I want you to put them in this folder. Okay, so I've got one called pictures synced from iPad. Okay,
Right.
So the pictures, all these pictures you see in this collection are, if I go to folders, sync from iPad, here they are. These are the physical pictures.
Right.
These are the pictures that are all coming in from my iPad. I can actually take these pictures now if I want to and move them into different folders, which I would typically do. You know, after I come back from a trip, I grab all the pictures from that trip and move them into another folder. I take a group of pictures, you know, whatever I want to do, and grab them and move them, you know, move them into some folder somewhere. You know, take them over and move them into a folder. So you can organize the pictures after you've got them on your iPad the way you want them and move them into different folders, which is what you do. You wouldn't leave them into one big folder with everything on them.
Right.
So the process is simple. The work process is start off by taking your pictures, a little dongle, putting them into your iPad, and it'll first create an album to put them into. Put them into your iPad.
Right.
Make sure you go to your desktop. Make sure it's synced over to your desktop. Sometimes coming back from a trip, you may not have had Wi-Fi, so it may take overnight to sync. You know, it may just you may come home and you don't have anything on your desktop and it's syncing, and it'll take you know, a couple hours maybe to get them all up to your. But the nice thing is it's doing it for you automatically, and any edits you did, like in an airplane coming back home, you're sitting there editing your pictures, or maybe culling your pictures out. You're doing X's and Y's on them. I'll do that a lot. Let's see.
Well, one other sort of a quick question. So
Yeah.
you probably have a couple of cards with you anyway.
Yeah.
So you take the first 250 pictures in 1 hour between when you get off the plane and when you get to your hotel. And so you slam that in there. And if there's good Wi-Fi, it will begin syncing up to the cloud. And then you get up in the next morning and you take another 100 pictures on that same card.
Yeah.
All right. So you hook it up again and you download it. And so it's not going to duplicate what it had previously downloaded, correct?
No.
It will only add to what you've previously put on there.
Yeah,
Is that right?
It's smart. I mean, it is.
Yeah.
Smart.
Okay.
It's smart. It just like Lightroom. It'll show you what you haven't done yet.
Okay.
And I'm trying to. I'm looking around and see if I've got a card stuck in the SD slot back on another part of my computer. Excuse me.
And the question that I have is, I'm assuming you're paying the Adobe iCloud account. You're paying for 1 terabyte.
I'm not paying. I'm paying a normal Adobe subscription, not buying extra space. This fits on my Adobe account.
Oh, okay. So
I-
it's on your 20 gig or whatever it is.
Yeah, I don't have tons of pictures. I mean, you can see if you can see from this thing here, I only have 1,700 pictures or so.
Okay.
So that I don't do this with all my catalog on my desktop is a lot bigger than that. if I go to my desktop here, you can see I've got what 56,000 pictures.
Okay, so so how do you keep your catalog on your laptop separate from your catalog on your Adobe account?
Well, when you do the syncing, it's the syncing of these collections sync. Your desktop catalog picks these up. Okay.
Okay.
It brings the picture in. It puts it in the folder that you know the difference between collections and folders, right? Or
Correct.
okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, it'll take the picture and physically put it into a folder,
Okay.
and then it keeps these collections down here synced up.
Okay.
So it syncs the catalog's all synced up. If I go over to my desktop here, it'll say cloud storage, 49.4 gigabytes used of 1 terabyte. So I've got 1 terabyte of storage. You get that free. Okay.
Oh,
So
okay.
I've only used 49 gigabytes. I have room for thousands of pictures more.
Right.
I mean, I could put another. I have only 1,700 pictures. I could put probably 10,000 pictures on here. Okay.
Okay. All right.
So it says, the syncing is all done and everything else. Now you got to make sure that your Lightroom is syncing, but.
All right. Thank you.
Says some face detection. I'm trying to say, yeah, you'd have to make sure that your Lightroom is syncing with the cloud. No, that cloud is pretty useful. I would think. That's just so that Lightroom I think is probably for I'm using my Nikon D810. It takes 38 megapixel pictures. They're big files, but it goes on my iPad fine. I can get about 900 pictures on there, 900,000. My iPad doesn't have a ton of storage. So it's before I go on a trip, I usually try to clean it off. All the pictures I've got on there, I try to get them off and stuff. So I've got some pictures.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me go one more here. Many. Go back to. You see, we're back here again. The other ones that were pretty good were this Photoshop Express. I highly recommend it. It's a nice piece of software. You can see here above, you can create a collage. Retouching is the same. You retouch photos to get the dust spots off and things like that. If I scroll down, there's a lot of things that you'd see all this stuff here, and that is pretty cool. So there's a lot of things it'll do. It's if you think of Photoshop Elements, it has some of the same sort of things on it. Selective editing, spot healing. So there's just a lot of good stuff that it'll do down here. So here's if I click on the skin retouching, my granddaughter being 17 has perfect skin anyways. We got to pick somebody. So it's showing her face right there. Okay, I can now click on smoother things like that. So let's I'll just smooth the face. It does a little. You can hardly see it. So I'll even do smoother here. Let's see if there's a before and I don't know if there's a before and after. I can run this slider back and forth. It's hard to see the difference, but it is there. Let's see if I can. Yeah, you can see it there. You can see the lines around her mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's a nice little feature in some smoothing features. There's a lot of other stuff you can do here. Let's see. Makeup's cool. See, I got choices with makeup. I can give her different lips. If I don't, hates my granddaughter. I think she has too much lipstick on, or not. I can do things. So there's different things you can do that way. Let's see. Let's go back to that. Let's quickly go back. So there's makeup. See if I go back to see all. Yeah, see all. I don't want to do see all. I know that there's more that you can do. Romantic face. Faces are just So you can do different things with face width, rotate face. I mean, it just, you know, see her head up there. So there's some really cool things you can do. Eyes, tilt eyes, size of eyes. There you go. So it, I'll have to go back a little bit bigger here, but you can
Oh,
see.
yeah. Slight change, but yeah, you can see
I mean,
it.
it doesn't get crazy, but you know, width of eyes, height of eyes, distance of eyes. I mean, there's a lot of different things you can do. Caricature. These are awful.
Oh, no, oh, no, no, no.
No,
She's too
so-
pretty. She's
No,
too
no,
pretty
that's
for
so
that.
you can do some different crazy things. But anyways, that's this is the don't say that one.
Yeah, don't say.
So
She would appreciate it.
that was the smooth skin thing, but there's a lot of other things. Here's selective editing. You could take selective editing and pick a oh gosh. Let's just take this picture here. And I can do some different things. Oh, here it does show you some things. You can edit specific section of the pic and create a unique effect. Okay, auto object. So there's auto selection of certain objects. Create your own, so you can select the objects that you want. So if I go here, for example, and I do, let's see, you can see on the right hand side, it's already created some masks for me. So if I select the background mask here, okay, I can now do something like light, make the background darker or lighter. So that's pretty cool. And there's some presets down here that I can do also. So that's, you know, if you, and this is a free app, this is free. This is a gun. Why Photoshop puts this out free, I don't know. It's fabulous. Spot healing, does makeup and retouch. That's add smile and retouch. That's pretty cool.
So this is Photoshop Express?
This is Photoshop Express, yes.
Wow, with all these retouch things in it.
I mean,
Okay.
it is mind-boggling why
Yeah.
the heck they do that. I want to do smile.
Well, maybe it's marketing, you know, people get
There you
into
go.
it, they say, okay, you know, it's worthwhile
Yeah. See
spending the
that?
money to actually, you know, go to a greater length. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good. So I mean, you know, just do things like you can make her smile. Lower lip, I can make the lower lip bigger or smaller. So that,
Wow.
you know, there is just some crazy things that you can do here. So I'm just telling you, this is a fabulous little. Oh, and then there's collages you can put together. And these things are, if you like posters and put together, let's see, you know, whatever you like. Let's just say, do that with this picture here. So you can do some different,
Ah,
you know,
nice.
you can go around and create different sort of posters and things like that. And then you can edit the text, you know,
Right.
if I go in there, I can edit the text. So it just gives you different looks. So those are nice. I've done that sometimes for some of the club things I've done. So don't say. So that's their grid layouts. I mean, there's a lot of stuff here for collages and all that. And then of course up above, there's just some standard edits. You know, you want to edit a picture, just plain want to edit a picture. I can do that too. Oh, here's a collage I created. I think that's it was my puppy.
Oh, that's cute.
But see, I can create that's a collage, and that you can do different editing here. You know, different basic things, and then down below there's adjustments and things. So again, that one there is Photoshop Express up here. Really good. I mean, and Lightroom and Photoshop Express are great. This is the regular Photoshop. It's much more serious stuff. And then Photoshop Camera, which is obviously that's for my wife would say for play babies. Let's see. Let's go to. I'm going to do a Photoshop Camera just because I can. Let go. To do that. Committee. That's the, and then I'll just bring up Photoshop camera here on my iPhone. Let's see if that's my iPhone there. Shoot. No, didn't go to. Where is it? Adobe camera. Okay. And I don't want to do me, I want to do outside. So this is outside my house, and I can pick off different filters. So I can do different filters. Let's see, scenery filter and sky. There's sky filter. I now have clouds in the sky, on the trees there. Which I
Wow.
didn't used to have. I can do things. This gets great. It doesn't show up too well here because it's. But if I do turn the camera around, it might show up. Let's see. There you go. So there I am in my room doing different things, and I have choices of what I want to do here. See. So it depends on what you want to do. Now, if this were not a room but a real sky behind me, I'd have a rocket ship going off behind me and stuff. So this is the Photoshop camera. There's a whole bunch of those silly things. Okay, we get off here. Stop sharing. Is there any other questions?
I will later.
Well, that's okay. I have always tell people I have a lifetime guarantee on my workshops. Just come back and ask a question. That's fine. Send me a text
Yeah.
or
Or an email.
or an email, or we could set up another Zoom meeting. I mean, if you had a particular question,
Okay.
I've done that with people. You know, set up a little. You get into Lightroom, for example, and start having trouble. Or whatever. You just we'll set up a Zoom meeting and walk through it.
All right.
That's part of my lifetime guarantee.
Guarantee. Yeah, all right. Thank you, Chuck. I've got to go.
Yeah, you take
Yeah.
care. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
And I will see y'all
Good,
next
very
time.
good, Chuck.
Hey,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you take care.
All right.